This week, we're going to be jumping back into our regular routine. You will be getting a fitness activity and nutrition log 6 for this week coming up. You'll be getting it over the weekend, and you will also be getting a lesson 3C for this week coming up. So be ready to do some work. It looks like most people are getting the idea of just turning in the assignments. Keep in mind that at this point, 66.6% of your grade are assignments. So if your grade is down here, I can tell you these people, maybe they haven't been coming to class as much as other people, but really the reason that their grades are down here is because they're not doing their assignments. Also, I am not going to be looking back at anything with a star at this point. If you haven't turned older assignments in, for example, an old fitness activity and nutrition log 1, I'm not going to be looking back to grade it for you, so you would have to let me know. But 2, if you're trying to make up an old fitness activity and nutrition log, you need to talk to me before you do it so I can explain how to do it. Because if you don't talk to me first, you're going to waste your time and I'm going to have you do it again. And you're going to be upset because, but I did it, I turned it in. Well, if you don't talk to me first, you are probably going to have to do it again. All right. So anyone who's trying to make up an old fitness activity and nutrition log from way before, got to talk to me first. All right. As far as the lessons go, you can make those up at any given point. But again, if there's a star on it, I'm not looking back at it at this point. You need to text me on Jupiter or email me on Jupiter and let me know, hey, coach, I did lesson 1 movement. Will you check it for me? I'm in period 3, or whatever your period is, whatever your name is, and whatever the assignment is. And if you are trying to make up an old fitness activity and nutrition log, and remember I just told you to talk to me, well, what does that mean? That means stay after class and talk to me as if you were late in the class and you were just clearing a late. But stay after so I can explain just a couple little things before you do it, so you don't waste your time. I'm going to make as quick a review video here as I can about the things you've already learned from all of your lessons. This is obviously a muscle man facing you and facing away. I just showed you this picture just so you can see that there are hundreds and hundreds of muscles in your body, I think close to 700 of them. And every time they contract, what does contract mean? It means the muscle getting smaller. It helps you move your body, and I'm going to explain that over the next few little minutes here. So when we break down what we look like on the inside, and we already just talked about muscles and how they move, but muscles have to connect somehow. So when they connect through a tendon. The tendons run through the muscle, okay? But at the end of the muscle, they attach themselves to the bones. All right, so tendons connect our muscle to our bone. Here was another look at it. Here's our bone, here's our tendon, and here's our muscles. And you can see these little white fibers that run through the muscle that connect muscle to bone with tendon. Skeleton is made up of a bunch of bones, okay? And these bones give our body structure and shape. Without these bones, we would be like a jellyfish or a squid or an octopus, just free-flowing all around. And the joints are where our bones connect. We've got joints in our fingers and toes. We've got joints at our wrists and elbows and shoulders, which you can't see here, our hips, our knees, our ankles, our neck, throughout our spine, okay? So anywhere where bones connect is a joint. And remember, our bones connect to our bones with ligaments. These pink things that we see are connecting the ligaments of our knee joint in this case. all right? So a bone connects to a bone with a ligament. So let's bring everything together with this image that I just talked about. First of all, obviously we can see the bones. So where the bones connect to the bones, I just told you it's a joint, okay? And wherever joints connect, or wherever bones connect within the joint, there should be ligaments there. But in this case, in these pictures, you're not seeing any ligaments. And that's okay, as long as you know that wherever bones meet bones, there's ligaments that are connecting them. You do see, though, the muscle here, and you see how the muscle is held in place with a tendon. So muscles connect to bones through tendons, and you can see that here. You also can see the muscle getting shorter. That is why it's balling up. If you compare this muscle on this side compared to that side, you see over here how it's long. You see how over here how it's short, because he is contracting his bicep. So whenever you contract, you make your muscle shorter. When you make your muscle shorter on one side, you make your muscle longer on the other side. Now, opposite of that, over here, the tricep is contracting. That's why it's balling up. That's why this image is a little bit bigger than this image. And you can see over here how the bicep is now relaxing. So you can see how muscles work together. One side contracts, one side relaxes, one side contracts, one side relaxes. Here are some good images of showing you what it looks like when the muscle balls up. Basically, it has nowhere to go. It's gotten so short that it's gotten in a tiny little small space. That's why it looks like that, or that's why it looks like that. All right? And here's another good image of it. So remember, our muscles do three different things. They either shorten, okay, or they get longer, or they stabilize. In other words, resist outside stress, okay, and they just kind of stay where they are. They kind of lock themselves in place. And because our muscles can stabilize, contract, relax, that lets us do all these different things that we can do with our bodies. Do a quick review of the muscles. So remember, this is our trapezius, and this is what it looks like. The movement we do with our trapezius is a shrug when we bring our shoulders up toward our ears. Another movement we do to work our trapezius is an upright row, but when we work our trapezius, as you can see here in red, those are the muscles we're working. But when we do an upright row, we are also working our deltoids. That's why they are also colored in red. And remember, your elbows always stay higher than your wrists as you pull your hands up your body. And the most common way to stretch our trapezius, at least on one side, is by pulling our head to one side or pulling our head to the other side. Over here is a way you can stretch the bottom part of your trapezius as well. Here are the muscles of the deltoid and what they look like in yellow, blue, and red. Yellow being the front part or the anterior part of the deltoid, blue being the middle part, the lateral or the side part of the deltoid, and red being the rear or posterior part of the deltoid. If you want to work the anterior part or the front part of your deltoid, you raise your arm to the front. So a raise is what it's called when you are lifting your arm up from the bottom to the top. So that is a deltoid raise to the front. If you want to work out the side part, the middle part, or the lateral part of your deltoid, you raise your arm to the side. If you want to focus on the rear part of the deltoid, and you can see here that it is colored in red, even though the middle part of the deltoid is a lighter shade of red, that's because it's working, but not as hard as the darker red part. But if you want to work the rear part of the deltoid, you raise your arm toward the rear. Or if you want to work the posterior part of the deltoid, you raise your arm toward the rear. And a lot of times people bend over to get this angle or lie down on a bench to get this angle. Raises were the best way to isolate the deltoids. And when I say isolate, meaning only work the deltoids. But if you want to work the deltoids but get another muscle involved, you're doing a pressing movement. A pressing movement is when you have your arms bent and you end up with them straight. So you go from bent to straight. If you remember on the raise, your arm stayed straight the whole time. That's why you're able to isolate your deltoids. But now if you do a pressing motion, you're going to work your deltoids, plus you're going to work your triceps. And finally, last but not least, as I always say, stretching. So here is a way to stretch your deltoids, and we're making your deltoids as long as possible right here. That's why we're getting a stretch. And here are some other ways to stretch your deltoids. You're just changing the angle, bringing it across your body, bringing your arms back, pulling your arm behind your back. Okay, these are all various ways where you're going to stretch either the front, middle, or back part of your deltoid. That's it as far as a review for all the lessons that we've learned so far. Everybody go ahead and turn your cameras on. Anyone who came late, make sure you stay after, and anyone who is not turning their camera on for whatever the reason is, make sure you stay after to explain why, so I don't drop your grade and think you just walked away from the class.